Forgot to change the screen behind me, but the title of today's message is Getting the Most Out of Your Leader. Getting the most out of your leader. The great playwright William Shakespeare, y'all heard of him. He penned these words in part 2 of Henry V, that play. He says, "Uneasy is the head that wears the crown." Now, we have since then tweaked that quote, and we say, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Now, what that means is this: being a leader is hard. Being a leader is not for the weak at heart. Possibly the greatest leader that ever walked the face of this earth, Jesus Christ, he went from having the people show him honor with bowed heads to only a few days later calling for his head. I say that to say that being a leader is not easy. It's my prayer that after spending these few minutes with you, and they will be a few, that we will all learn a few things that we can do, me and you, that we can do to make our leaders' job easier and thus getting the most out of our leader. When I say get the most out of your leader, I'm not talking about draining them dry. I'm not talking about squeezing all the juice out of them. What I'm talking about is positioning them so that they can serve to their highest capability, their highest capacity. I'm talking about providing everything needed to help them walk in their calling to the best of their ability. So I have 459 things that I need y'all to write down. I'm glad y'all caught that joke. I'm going to break it down, make it super easy. It's just 3. So if you got notes, you're writing them down, I beseech you, write these down. You don't want to forget these 3. Are you ready? Are you ready? All right, I got 3 people ready. Number 1, minimize your leader's distractions. Minimize your leader's distraction. Now, you guys know me. I'm not the smartest man in the world, so I looked up the word distraction. What does the word distraction mean? And then it gave me this definition: something that distracts. Well, what does that mean? So I looked up the word distract. You know what distract means? Listen to this definition. It says to draw or direct something, such as someone's attention to a different object or in different directions at the same time. If you are pulled in multiple directions with multiple issues and multiple things, can you serve to your highest capacity? The answer is no. So one of the greatest things that you and I can do is minimize our leaders' distractions. The things that makes them have to look in multiple directions. The things that will not allow them to focus on the one thing that God has called them to do. Remember, we're trying to learn what we can do to get the most out of our leader. And minimizing distractions, it's huge. What distractions might our leader face? Here comes those 459 items. Y'all ready? I'm going to simplify these and give you 3. Attendance, tardiness, finances. Remember, these are 3 things that you and I can control. Attendance, where are the people? Tardiness, when are the people going to get here? Finances, how are we going to cover all of the church's expenses? These are things that you and I can control. Okay? Hebrews 10:25. I'm going to read it in the King James, then I'm going to read it in the New Living because I love the way it says. It says, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another so much the more as we see the day approaching. Now listen to it in the New Living Translation. It says, and let us not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near. Your presence encourages others. Your presence encourages your leader. I know you didn't think you were that important, but you are. You are. People in this room need to see you and need to see you often. Now imagine this. You got to put on your imagination cap. Imagine this. You've been in the kitchen all week preparing the perfect meal for the family get together. You've mixed this and you baked that. You fried this and you grilled that. You can't wait to share what you prepared with your loved ones. And the day comes for your loved ones to show up and only a handful come. Would that grieve your heart? Absolutely. You start calculating what you spent and look at these pork chops finna go to waste. And then you call Brother Cody and he helps you out. I come over quick. I don't mind stepping in for a messing family member. Now, research shows that on average, a pastor works about 12 to 15 hours constructing their message for Sunday. 12 to 15 hours. Now, it took me 10 minutes to put this together. That's why it ain't as good as when pastor preaches, right? But think about what that means. If it takes 12 to 15 hours, that means your leader has been in the kitchen all week mixing this and baking that and frying this and grilling that. Wouldn't it be honorable to show up and enjoy the delicious meal that's been prepared for us? I mean, I'm going to leave it right there. Make sure, though, after you eat, you say, thank you for this delicious meal and compliments to the chef. That's what we do at the restaurant when it's good, right? Now, I thought about this. I read this article about different things you can do to show appreciation to your pastor. And one of the things that the lady said was, don't just say, that was a good word, Pastor. That's like a empty compliment. Tell them how you plan to use that word to improve your life. Tell them how that word they preached last week impacted your life this week. That gives you the strength to put another 12 to 15 hours in for next Sunday. I don't know about you guys, but if you ever feel like the work you do isn't appreciated, is it easy to keep doing it? Some of us right now on our job, we give this much effort because we don't feel appreciated. But if your boss showed you how much you mean to the company, man, they got to force you to go home. Go home, sister. Nah, wait, I'm going to do 30 more minutes of work and then I'm going to get out of here. Go home, sister. This place will be here tomorrow. Nah, I got to get 30 more because I love my job. Question. How many of you before COVID loved to go to the movies? Just a few of us, okay? Next question. Did you sit down in your seat 15 minutes after the movie started? No? I know people that if they miss the previews, they will go to the later movie. I can't miss them previews? I try to miss the previews. I don't want to sit here 30 extra minutes to see movies I don't want to see. I came to see this movie. But if we're willing to show up early for our movie, surely we can show up early for worship. Being on time for the movies cannot be of a greater importance than being on time to worship our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Nearly a decade ago, 10 years ago, 10 years has flown by. We were doing renovations in this room, in this whole church, but in this room in particular. And so we had to worship at Coleman Park Community Center. Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember what time we worshiped? 8 a.m. And as I looked through this room, some of the same faces was there at 8 a.m. Now, fast forward 10 years, and you get 2 more hours of sleep, and we still late. Tardiness is a distraction. You guys might not realize, but sometimes when your leader is teaching or whoever's teaching and they see the door come open, they do, and then they try to get refocused, and then they keep trying to preach, and then it's a distraction. Imagine this. It's 9:45. You're in your seat. Am I building it up good for you? Can you feel it? You've already prayed and asked God to speak to your heart. Your mind is in a good space. Your heart is anticipating a word from God. You are ready. You're in the zone. And then your pastor walks through the door and everyone erupts with applause because we can't wait to hear what God has given him during those 12 to 15 hours. Imagine how he would walk up these steps and stand before you. Imagine the joy that he would have when he looked out and he saw the faces of the people that couldn't wait to hear what God gave him. Do you think you would get more out of your leader? I guarantee you, if you create an atmosphere like that, we might not have an hour of power anymore. 3 hours of power. That's when I just unplug stuff. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. Pastor ain't gonna never let us out. He is in the zone. I'm telling you, if we create that atmosphere, we're gonna have to push him out the pulpit. Come on, Pastor. Come on, Pastor. Come on, it's good, but we gotta go home. It's Thursday, Pastor. It's Thursday. Can we leave now? We ain't ate in 4 days. Just give me 5 more minutes. Just give me 5 more minutes. Like, Pastor, you said that 3 days ago. Our tardiness is a distraction, but it's one thing that we can control. We can control this. And it would make our leader's job so much easier. Paul was a great man of God, and he had to oversee several churches. I couldn't imagine leading one. He had to lead several, right? He planted churches in different places. So he had to lead several. And listen to what he writes to the church at Corinth in 1 Corinthians 16:2. He says, upon the first day of the week, let every one of you lay by him in store as God hath prospered him, that there be no gathering when I come. You guys have heard that verse. Listen to what the writer of Acts says in Acts 4:34. He says, neither was there any among them that lacked. For as many as were possessors of lands or houses sold them and brought the prices of the things that were sold. Imagine this. What if we all, every last one of us, did our parts? We all gave our tithe, and if there was ever a time that an offering was needed above and beyond, we kicked in then. There would be an abundance in the storehouse to where there was never a lack in this room. Because we're all capable of having a rough moment. And what if Brother Cody falls on hard times, but there's an abundance in the storehouse? The church can then do what it was designed to do. It can aid him. And now he's back where he needs to be. But then next month, Sister So-and-so, she hits a rough patch. But because all of us have this mindset of, what can I do? Here's what I have to do. All of a sudden now, finances is never an issue. Let's be honest. I know we got a few rich people in the house. I'm speaking it over some of y'all. Worrying about finances can be extremely mentally draining, right? When you're always having to put together a plan to figure out how to pay them and how to ward them off for a little bit longer and it's draining. What if our leader wasn't faced with that problem because we just took that off the table by our generous giving? Now, I will say this. For a body of believers to be as small as we are, you all are incredible. I mean, sincerely incredible. I talked to my father, who had a small congregation, smaller than ours. But what we do in this house financially, it's far-fetched for people sometimes. Really? Your people did that? Do you know why you guys do that? You've been taught, but you have the heart. But if you listen to it, it says, let every one of you. Maybe there's a few ones of us that still haven't done our part yet. And so where we are really capable of getting, we're still not there yet, because only, they say 20% of the people do 80% of the work. Imagine if we all did our part. It would be totally different. It would be totally different. If that was the case and we took that off our leader's plate, could our leader focus their energy on studying and preaching the word in a way that continued to bless our lives? Absolutely. So the first thing we must do to get the most out of our leaders, to minimize their distraction. Are you ready for number 2? Did you know that you could actually support the YouTube channel and podcast? That's right. If you have a desire to be a blessing to the show, there's many different ways you can do it. We have Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, and you can use the website to make a donation. Any donation will help, and every donation will be used to pour into the lives of others. So if you want to click on the description of this video, you can find all of the information you need to make a donation. God bless you, and thank you for your support.